Hi guys, welcome back to Geeks Wargaming, and we are revisiting Blood Bowl 2. This is the UKBBL, and this is Season 33. Those of you that have been watching my Blood Bowl content might be thinking, what happened to Season 32? Yeah, it didn't go too well, as you would probably saw, but also I had my graphics card blew up. So I couldn't actually play it and film at the same time. I could just about play the game to get me through the season. The Necro team I wasn't really enjoying. I liked the name and I liked the names of the players. I thought that was quite cool. But other than that, I just didn't really like Necro. So Chaos Dwarf are actually one of my favourite teams, probably my favourite team. I know, yes, I'm a horrible, horrible person. I play them a lot on tabletop, and I'm doing really well with them on tabletop. So I thought to myself, well, let's see how I do in the UKBBL. So that's exactly what I did. So this is the Darkland Doomaxes. This is their first game. As you can see, it's against Dark Elves. They are completely fresh team, as well as mine. So went into this game pretty confident. Now, this video that I'm recording now, I actually played this game 12, probably longer than 12 weeks ago, so I can't remember what happened in this game at all. I will try and do some tactical analysis, maybe, or just randomly talk over the game. So, going against Dark Elves, first game of the season. It's one of them where I'm feeling fairly confident that I can sort of outbash. However, Bazarak is one of my players, so not a great start, but it did also get the elf. Fortunately, we both come off with just a stun on that one. But yeah, I thought I might be able to outbash having more block. Dark Elves don't start with dodge, so the tackle is a useless skill in this opening match. And I haven't really got a ball carrier yet. Obviously, hobgoblins are your ball carrier. You can probably start to try and pick up the ball on a bull centaur. I tend to do that after I've actually got a score on the board, because 4+ to pick up, it's a little bit scary. So I try not to do that. So my opponent's just screening off the ball there. He's knocked down my front line of scrimmage, partly due to the thrown rock, so I only had 2 on the scrimmage anyway. I'm not too sure why my opponent decided to attempt the pickup with the lineman rather than the runner, but fortunately for him, the ball scattered onto the runner and he caught it anyway. So, generally in this situation, as I said, I can't remember what I did, but I just try and punch some elves, try and get some attrition, tie them up as much as you can, box them in. Probably not the best tactic actually. Looking at this cluster around the middle, I could see that I'm going to get punched quite easily, so I'm just feeding them bodies there. Decided to blitz this lineman because he's completely unskilled, and also allows me to sort of run around and pressurise the ball carrier. So quite strong over this side, quite strong in the middle, weaker on this side. So naturally, I feel like he might want to move this way, but then he's got to get past the centaur. That's why I kind of did that. But as I said, looking at this, the engagement in the middle, I'm kind of slightly outnumbered there. So I've given him an easy 2-die block there. He's got an easy 2-die block there in follow-up after he's knocked him down. So yeah, he can bully me quite easily, which I'm sure we're about to see. As we saw on my turn, I just did not get the block dice, but my opponent is getting the block dice at the moment. And breaking armour, which, you know, he's got to roll a 10 on a dwarf. So in 2 turns I've had 2 stuns. Yes, one was from a thrown rock, but I thought this move, actually, that's quite ballsy to run your ball carrier right next to the ball centaur. Yes, I know he sort of crowded it with elves, but there was no guarantee there that he was going to knock that down. He'd have to commit a reroll to it if it failed, and only 1 reroll left. Well, only 1 reroll on this team. That was another thing when I saw this game. I was like, okay, so he's a fresh Dark Elf team and he's only got the 1 reroll. You feel pretty confident there. Not entirely sure why a blitz there. Tie up the back of the cage, maybe? Right, so that's to remove those 2 assists. So then I can knock this guy down, push and follow up. And just crowded around the ball now. So he's got to deal with me. I should have put that there. And then the skull and an armor break. Should have put that there because he can just stand up and he can give an assist straight away to this well, to one of these players, to the ball carrier if need be. So that was poor placement. Should have put him up there. So he can easily push away some players now. Yeah, that was poor placement with that. It's funny when you're playing the game, you don't necessarily see them, and then when you're watching it back, you notice all your mistakes. So he is easily just broke out of my little corner there, probably due to that 1 misplay. And with him being elves, and my faster, more agile players are trapped over here and knocked down, it's making it a little bit harder for me. Again, just not getting the block dice. Double both down. That was he's tanked 4 dice there, and then another push. I think I had 1 more space there, so I'm not sure if I could have got there and there just to tag him. But yeah, I can see already there's quite a few mistakes happening. I'm surprised I re-rolled that. I'm very surprised I re-rolled that, because that's pretty much inevitable that he's going to score. And then a double 1. That was an unlucky turn. So the elves are kind of really clustered in the middle. Should have really been able to take advantage of that and punched a few, but now that ball's completely gone. Can't get anywhere near that. My ball will easily get punched. Yeah, the blitzer's come in for the assist, meaning that he's got a nice easy punch here. There you go. Yeah, there you go. So there is the threat to the ball completely gone. Got nobody in range. This guy, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, can't even get close. So I decide just to surround his guys and punch him a bit, I guess. In this situation, when you know you can't get to the ball, maybe send 1 or 2 just to sort of threaten. Why did I GFI there? Right, yeah, okay, so a GFI's there, so I can get to the end zone on my next turn. So I'm basically saying, right, you've got to score now, because if he doesn't remove this player, then I can get to his ball carrier. Especially now. Probably slightly needless GFIs there, really. A bit of extra pressure on the ball, and also I hadn't used his sure feet, so I guess that must have been my logic. This blitzer, he's been a right pain, hasn't he? And my hobgoblins are just rolling skulls and then getting themselves hurt. So yeah, not the best opening few turns for the Doomaxes. On the tabletop, incidentally, last season I went completely unbeaten until I got to the playoffs, and we don't mention what happened in the playoffs. But needless to say, I wasn't in them very long, and there are some intense rivalries that have happened down the club now due to that match. It's got very bitter. But I'm in the second season with my Doomaxes on tabletop, and we're 3 games in, and they are still undefeated in the regular season. So my bull there is looking like he could get surfed potentially, but obviously my opponent has decided to score. He scored early, giving me plenty of time to score in response. 4 turns on Chaos Dwarf isn't unrealistic, particularly if you can get the ball in the hand of a centaur. I'm not too sure if that's what I do. We'll have to see. With only 1 reroll, I might not have risked it. In fact, I probably wouldn't have. It's new for me, this game. Can't remember it at all. So my opponent has gone for a very wide setup on the line of scrimmage. Doesn't want to give too many punches away. Unfortunately for him, he can't really avoid it. Yeah, so just having the centaurs to run up, interfere. So it's quite an aggressive line. Opponent's getting the kickoff results as well, and it's not exactly a deep kick, that. First armor break of the game, but it's just a stun. Block dice appear to be warming up. Finally, I can punch one down that hasn't got block. Just covering the ball a bit there. So I'm making my cage here. And that needed a reroll, which is not good. So that's made me have to risk picking up the ball without the reroll. I'm just going for fouls now, just to try and get on top of that attrition, but instantly sent off. A double one, didn't even break the armor and sent off. Worst possible result. So I'm now a player down and score down, and I haven't done hardly any damage to the Elves at all. So it looks like my opponent's going for a bit of an elf screen here. Just trying to get in the way as much as possible, which can work. Especially when I'm not getting any of the damage in. My opponent's obviously just going for my softer targets, trying to remove my potential ball carriers, which is obviously working out nicely for him because I've removed one myself, and now a KO means that I've only actually got two hobgoblins on the pitch, so only 2 agility 3 players, which means that carrying the ball can be quite tough. Seen a hole, but I needed to knock him down. Needed to knock him down. So yeah, I've made a cage, kind of, that yes, there is a player here. That was a misplay, I would say. I've left my ball carrier exposed to a blitz here. That was poor play. Giving him a 1 die on the ball. Don't know what I was thinking there. And I've only got 2 turns to get forward, so I really need to get it to about here in the next turn with the ball or with a receiver. So my opponent obviously double skulled there, but then converted it into an armor break with a reroll. That was his free one, which is obviously now giving him a nice easy punch on the centaur, which he managed to knock down, but got the turnover. That's leaving only 1 player, which would be this centaur, that's able to get into scoring range, and potentially the ball carrier himself. We've got an injury, which is nice. So I can run up quite nicely with the bull. And get the ball carrier up. Need to try and loosely cage the back. That I needed a knockdown. This guy's completely free. And there you go, you can just go there and blitz 1 die, the ball carrier. Whereas if I'd managed to get a knockdown, I'm surprised he actually did that. Guess he can come in. That's probably not the best way to do it, but it was effective for him. I've now got a centaur that's completely surrounded. So if I'm going to score here, I've got to do a lot of dice rolling with no rerolls. So it's looking pretty grim, so that's why I decided I'm just going to try and punch things to try and get some of that attrition on my side again. Starts to work out, but they are just KOs at this stage. And the double both down has screwed the turn. So I think my dice haven't been particularly great this half. Made a few mistakes tactically, which I think that first mistake with the misplay of where to push that guy led to quite an easy score. And then obviously him getting sent off wasn't helpful. Get my KO back though. So I think I am the same as my opponent. Yeah, he's got 1 out and I've got 1 out. It is my drive now. I don't have to go quite as aggressive. I can slowly cage and grind up. At this stage, I'm kind of thinking I've got to really just play for a draw now, knowing that if I score quick enough for me to score again, my opponent is definitely going to be able to score again. So the only way that I'd score reasonably quick is if I start injuring his players. So yeah, perfect defense is really useful for my opponent. You just redeploy, so all my extra punches that I'd get over here on that guy, he's just completely nullified that straight away. And he's able to set up this side knowing that the ball's coming here as well. So I was hoping to get a bit of attrition again early. That's kind of how you have to play with Chaos Dwarfs, is just punch your opponents to the ground as much as you can and then slowly walk past them and hope that they don't get up. But the elf armour is holding strong on this occasion, frustratingly. So making the ball safe, giving my ball carrier, which will be the hobgoblin back here, it's probably Brody. Yeah, Brody. Brody is my ball carrier on tabletop. So nice little blitz there, but no armor break. So I've got lots of bodies in the way, so even if this fails I don't re-roll it, I wouldn't have thought. Yeah, no re-roll there, there's no urgent rush, got plenty of time. He can get sort of a 1 die here, or even a 2 die if he commits 2 there, covers him and blitzes from that angle. And then he could go here, but I don't think he's got enough bodies committed over this side to even do that, so this hobgoblin's reasonably vulnerable, he might be targeted. Yeah, as I thought, soft target. Get those removals again. Just again screening this side. I've committed a lot of my players here, so it's going to be a bit of a punch up is what I'm hoping that they'll engage in, but you know, he's a fairly competent coach, I'd say, and knowing that he doesn't want to go and base all of my Chaos Dwarfs, because I will punch him harder than he can punch me. So we get the ball safe, and we can cage up. So this Chaos Dwarf is just there just to make a sort of the screen, so he can't quite get right behind my cage with these players. He'll have to walk round, or he'll attempt to blitz. But my opponent is quite happy just to play the screening game. This isn't the best way to do a screen with the offset players. You want to put them directly behind each other. With this, you could potentially smash one guy out the way and then run round him. Same here. potentially. Whereas if you've got two, then you remove this guy, there's still a guy standing behind, still tackle zone coverage. So the best way is to have it like this, then have two here, and then two here, and go across like that. But this is working out for him at the moment, so. Just relocating the cage. Putting the ball centre on the wing so he can quickly shoot up if needed. If he gives me any opportunity, potential handoff and then go. But I am allowing my opponent quite a few free hits on my dwarfs. Which it doesn't matter if you've got block and armor 9. If you're giving your opponent a lot more blocks, then eventually you are going to get your armor broke. So not playing the best here, but I think some of the dice haven't been on my side. Maybe slightly more in favour of my opponent. And his positioning's been pretty good. It's a big blow. I think he was the guy that got the rock thrown in his face in the first half. I'm not quite sure why I immediately stood him up and tagged those. I'm not sure what my thinking was there. Risky having him on the sideline, but not too risky. He's a strength 4, you can only push him to there. He's not going to be able to remove this guy and then blitz him off the pitch. Just running the clock down, really. And these pesky elves just getting in the way, not getting hurt. Leaving him so many blocks. I'm not quite sure what I was doing there. I think that was maybe a slight misplay. Might have been a misclick even. Because that centaur doesn't make any sense being there. Trying to get rid of... sorry, Alexa's going off in the background. Trying to get rid of that guy so he's not in the middle of the cage. So I had to risk the foul there. Paid off getting the stun. It seems every time that I manage to break his armour, he responds by removing one of mine. So he's just got the one out, and I've got 2 KOs and a send off. So I'm losing the attrition. So this cage is going to become more and more flimsy, and harder to sustain, or harder to fight out of his screening. And because we're so bunched now, we can sort of chain push, get my ball carrier out of the cage. And partly because of the poor positioning of that ball. I'm not too sure what I was doing there, but that was not great play. Was that opening with a 1 die? I'm not too sure why I did that. Nice removal. I think I must be trying to go for some kind of blitz on here so I can get round. That's probably what's happening. Doesn't really give me any nice place for the ball though. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm blitzing the centre. Managed to get it. Where's the ball go though? Potato. I'm not sure that was the best play, but that's unlucky. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So he can easily, without rolling any dice, get in contact there. So that centaur should have been 1 square further up, I think. But if he was 1 square further up, he could have just run through there. So I think it was kind of getting a bit desperate with the turns being where they are. I've basically given him a 2+ to get a hit on the ball, haven't I? And he's got recovery. Yeah, so some poor positioning over here meant that he could easily fight. He's hit the ball carrier. Had insult to injury, he's broke his armour. So but that's a left off there. So I've got a centaur that can blitz him, but he has got players deep that if I was to get the perfect storm, knock him down, pick up the ball with a centaur, then it still wouldn't be easy. But actually the centaur, I've noticed, was tagged by this guy, so I do manage to knock the ball down. Bounce not great. It's in a tackle zone, but it's closer to his players. Just trying to get into some kind of scoring position. A couple of players. He is my only scoring threat now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, so he's out of scoring range, so I've literally got him. So all my opponent needs to do is just punch this guy, really. If he was to knock him down, I wouldn't be able to score. He's obviously chosen not to do that. He has got plenty of free elves now, so he's putting his own scoring threat in. He's obviously pretty confident that he can recover that ball. Recover the ball and send it down the pitch. I was hoping for a better bounce. Getting the ball in the end. Just for the tie. He's got a re-roll. Pick up the ball on a 4+. Fail it. There we go. That was a 4 up, 3 up, then 3 up, 4 up for the draw there, but wasn't to be. Probably not deserved anyway, because I'd say my opponent played better than me on this one. His dice were slightly better, but my positioning was off in some key moments that I've seen now watching the replay back. So I'd say, yeah, deserved win by my opponent, this one. Maybe not quite as big a win, though. 2-0. 1-0 was fair, I would say, but that's what Elves can do. Make mistakes, they'll punish you. Particularly at this lower team level. Being able to do everything on 2+ is so strong. So they don't really need the extra re-rolls. Whereas I've only got sort of 3 or 4 players that can pick up the ball. So there we go then, guys. That's the end of the first match. I'm not going to go on to any of the other screens because you'll probably see the results for the rest of the season. So I'm afraid you're going to have to look at this blank screen for a bit. So yeah, as I said, that was game 1 of season 33 of the UKBBL. I'm now going to be putting up Blood Bowl videos covering this season probably every Monday. Until we sort of catch up with the season. The season is generally about 12 games long, and season 34 is just about to kick off as I'm recording this video. And there's generally about about 3 or 4 week gap between the seasons. So hopefully, if I manage to upload everything to the schedule that I'm hoping to stick to, then we'll probably just about catch up with each other by season 35, I think. In my head, I think that works out, kind of. So yeah, that's it. So thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Hopefully you picked up some tactics and some things not to do with poor positioning. But hopefully you enjoyed it. And remember to subscribe if you haven't already done so, and hit the notification button. Then you won't miss any of the content that we upload. And I will see you next week for another Blood Bowl video.